Good evening, everyone out there in TV and internet land. For those of you who are regulars, welcome back. And for those of you who are coming for the first time, welcome. I am your host, Dr. Monique Lescott, in collaboration with the ZIZ and the St. Kitts Nevis Medical and Dental Association. This is HealthWise. I have here with me Dr. Steve Whitaker, and Mr. David Debson, Building Maintenance System and Operations Manager. We have a very interesting lineup for you this evening, and I know that you guys will be very much intrigued with what we have to discuss. So the topic for this evening is air quality, climate change, and your health. So good night. Good night, guys. Good night, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So, I guess I can open the floor with you, Mr. Debson. You can introduce yourself to everyone.
Well, my name is David Debson. I'm the owner of Advanced Building Maintenance Systems. We're a commercial cleaning company, a building maintenance company, and a lot of what we do involves mold remediation, commercial cleaning. When we say commercial cleaning, we're looking at cleaning rugs, carpets, chairs, furnitures, office furnitures. We also do residential cleaning post-construction. So my experience in the field of cleaning and building maintenance is right up the alley of this discussion tonight. So I'm hoping that I can share some information and that would be helpful and beneficial to the listening audience.
I'm sure it will be, and we're happy to have you to share your knowledge and expertise on this subject matter. And my other guest would be Mr. Dr. Steve Whitaker, longtime friend as well, and I'm really happy to have him here. You can also introduce yourself to the members of the public.
All right, thank you, Dr. Lescott. Nice to meet you. My introduction is going to be short. I'm a researcher of many things. My background is in environmental health and climate change, air quality, and health in the Caribbean was also my focus, probably for longer than I would like to say, but for at least half a decade plus, with collaborators from various colleges and intergovernmental agencies, as well as local agencies in St. Kitts, including academic institutions. I had the privilege and the honor and potential / opportunity to collaborate on quite a few things, and so I'm here to be part of this conversation as an expert in the research field. I feel we have to confirm that. I think many people thought I was hiding away, just getting all these pictures and information behind closed doors, but it was a collaborative, above-board effort, and I have many people to thank for that. So, willing and able to be part of the discussion, but I'm warning playfully and politely, again, there are people with more expertise than myself. It would be great if you, I love to talk, but, engage them as well. I am by no means special, and for the purpose of this conversation, Whitaker is fine. You don't have to say doctor. That's my father.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I have to say Mr. Steve Whitaker?
Just say Whitaker.
Whitaker. So, thank you very much, Whitaker.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to take it back to Mr. Debson. So in terms of our first slide, if you want, I'll let you lead the conversation. You can start wherever you want to start, and we'll go from there.
Well, as you said, my expertise is really in commercial cleaning, building maintenance. We started our company around 7 years ago after an extended period working for private companies. I started my own company doing building maintenance, and when we started doing building maintenance, one of the things that popped up where we had a lot of business, a lot of interest, a lot of concerns being generated by our clients was in the cleaning and sanitary conditions of the buildings in which they operate. We had staff complaining, staff would complain to the managers about the air quality, the bathrooms are smelling not the best. And then we grew up in a society where we had persons going to work and coughing or having sinus attacks and what's not. And we just wrote them off as being sickly. Tell them go home, drink some bush tea and those type of remedies, those old school remedies. But as time has evolved and persons are getting a little bit more knowledgeable of what's going on, we have come to recognize that sometimes the issues that we have are self-created issues that can be avoided. Okay? So we participated recently in a dialogue hosted by the Cabinet Secretary, a very good dialogue on indoor air quality, and we had a range of persons speaking. It was very well put together, I must say. And coming out of that, we had more questions arising. What can we do? What is going on? What is the situation? So I'm here to try and present some of the information that I would have shared at the dialogue, and hopefully, as I said, the information may be beneficial. So I have some slides I would like to jump into.
So you want slides? So you're going to start with slide 1?
Slide 1, yes.
Can we have slide 1, guys?
Slide 1 basically would say, let's skip to the next one.
After the title.
Yeah,
After the title,
yes, sorry. So, just so the items I'm going to speak about tonight, I want to talk about the benefits of regular cleaning. Regular cleaning is what you do at your own home. And then we want to also talk about the importance of professional cleaning, which you would need sometimes at your own home, but definitely at your place of business. Most persons, when they go out to work, unless you're hired as a janitor, your primary focus is not keeping the office clean or dumping the garbage, making sure the refrigerator is clean. That's not the main purpose of your job. That's not the main thing in your job description. So I want to speak about the importance of professional cleaning, and then to touch on the hot topic, mold. And then how do we clean mold? How do we go about cleaning mold? Can we skip to the next slide? Yeah, so the benefits of regular cleaning. Primarily, it prevents dust, dirt, and allergen buildup. You do regular cleaning in the office, you do regular cleaning at your home, there is a very high chance that you will be breathing comfortable air. You won't have the reaction, some person's reaction to dust and allergen can be very severe. You get rashes on your skin, you can't breathe properly, etc.
But as you say, sometimes then this will contribute to a stigmatization that you're sickly or you're,
Yes.
and then I guess negatively impacting your employment. Your employer might not look at you in the most favorable way if you're always having to take time off for sick leaves and stuff. So I know when it comes to the dust and dirt and allergen, we have a large population of persons who have respiratory illnesses such as asthma and whatnot. So the cleaning for sure is a big one.
Also, in discussions with Whitaker, he expounded a bit on in St. the areas in St. that have a higher propensity to mold, dust, because you know we have the Sahara dust coming through. Right now we have a major thing going on with all these road constructions. I mean, you know, Monkey area, St. Peter's, where I live, you washing your car don't even make sense to go up that area anymore, because the amount of dust that there, and then Monkey Hill, the persons who live along that main road are so close to the main road that the dust will end up getting into your homes. You look at the curtains, you see it. So those are the things I know. That's something you had expounded on. The Sahara dust was one of them.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So continuing though, it contributes to the overall well-being of the individual, having a clean space. I know for me personally, when I get to my office, if the office is not properly clean, if everything is not where it's supposed to be, it's hard for me to function. Me personally, there are some people who strive in chaos. You know, when they have chaos, or
I am one of them. I am one of them.
Sorry, I had to laugh at that one.
Yeah, but chaos is not really something that I can work with properly. I like to have things in place, they clean. If I see dust on the printer, before I could use the printer, I want to make sure I get
That's
it.
a little OCD, you know.
Maybe
Let's not
so.
diagnose anybody, Dr. Lescott. This is personal.
Yeah, it creates a sense of tranquility also, right?
True.
That's true.
Having a clean environment, being in a clean environment. And in addition to that, you go in your bedroom. If you're not clean, how do you sleep? As I said, maybe it might be OCD, doctor. We'll have to have a conversation about that after. Might be a bit of OCD, but I find persons function better in a clean environment. When you walk into a place that's clean, you just have a little bit more focus. You walk into a doctor's office and the place is clean, you're a little bit more muted, you don't be shouting and things. So you go in a place that's jumbled up, everything all over the place, then you get the kind of fish market mentality because you feel like you're in a fish market.
I've never looked at it that way, but it does contribute to mental health and feeling good.
Yeah. And another thing about doing regular cleaning, it extends the life of your property. In the case of an office, if you regularly shampoo your carpets, they're going to last longer than if you don't do it. Your furniture in the office, if you clean the furniture, polish it, it's going to last longer than if you don't do it.
Correct.
And it applies the same thing at your home. If you clean your home regularly, it's going to last you longer.
Interesting.
So those are some of the benefits of regular cleaning.
Can't argue with that.
You can have the other slide.
Yeah, I could have the other slide one time. So going on to now speaking about the importance of professional cleaning. The importance of professional cleaning cannot be understated because, as I mentioned in the introduction, when you're hired as a sales clerk, you're hired as a receptionist, your job description does not say cleaning and maintaining the facilities. That's not what you're there for. So you're hoping that the company that you hired, while you may be able to do some of the minor things, the company that you hire will have a professional company to come in and handle those things. You have a water spill on carpet, you might try to mop it up, but mopping water on a carpet is not good enough.
Yes,
you actually have to shampoo
exactly.
it.
So then we're going to stick a thumbnail on that because we're actually due for a commercial break. And when we come back, we're definitely going to elaborate on such issues that, as you say, it's a hot topic at the moment. And I know many want to hear you elaborate on such. So we'll be back in a few short moments.
Guess what? What? September 2024 marks the official start of Aspire.
And our government has a super cool gift just for us.
$1,000 in saving and investments.
$500 will be held in a savings account.
That will go as you go.
And $500 in shares kept safely until you are qualified to access it.
And it belongs to us. Not mommy, no daddy.
And not only that, you'll be learning all about how to manage your money wisely at school too.
Yes, all children ages 5 to 18 who are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis
And registered at a school, including homeschool, will qualify.
I can't wait for September 2024.
But I am the first group ever to benefit from this program.
Yay! To saving, investing, and
Watching our money grow.
And welcome back. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, welcome. And for those of you who have been with us from the beginning of the program, welcome back. And so we're going to resume where we left off, and I'm going to let Mr. Debson take the floor.
Yes, welcome back. So as we were saying before we took a little short break, we wanted to speak about the importance of professional cleaning. As I would have mentioned, you know, when you get hired to work in a firm in St. Kitts or wherever you work, whether it's a bank, an accounting office, you work in a store as a sales clerk, you work in a government office, unless you're signed on as a janitor, your primary role and responsibilities do not include taking out the garbage and mopping the floor at the end of the day. So when you get hired, you are hoping that the company that you're working with, the institution that you're working with, have professional cleaners to do that professional work. And that work will extend the life of the equipment that you use, the space that you operate in, and still contributes to your own health.
Is overseas, I know the rules of engagement will be much different overseas. Isn't there some sort of legislative law that kind of enforces that companies are supposed to Because then, if not, then persons are left to basically at liberty clean if they feel like or not clean. Isn't that some sort of policy? I wouldn't necessarily say law, but some sort of something that is ratified by the House or anything like that, or no?
As it is, there is no policy. There is nothing in place for that. Coming out of the dialogue, the Indoor Air Quality Dialogue that was hosted recently, one of the things they hope to do is put a committee in place to look at implementing some of these things.
Because then if that's the case, if I'm on the job and I'm suffering from mold, then I can't necessarily hold the employer responsible if there is no legislation stating that this is enforced. So they can, at will, if they choose to not clean.
Well, they can choose not to clean. I mean, while there is a basic understanding in labor relations that your employer is supposed to provide you with a safe environment, the line is kind of shaded in terms of what is defined as that safe environment. So for construction, you know you got to provide the guys with helmets, or in certain businesses, I know for the persons who do gas stations and so forth, they may be supplying shoes to their staff. The breweries and those manufacturers might provide hardware, different types of hardware. But in terms of ensuring that the office is cleaned by a janitor, the floor is mopped, I don't think
or sanitized, like to a particular level.
That is not.
No, that's not enforced.
Not something that's enforced. Yeah. So it's kind of left up in the air for persons to kind of hold their employer's foot to the fire and say, yo, we need this done to improve our ability to work comfortably. And if the employer decides, well,
they ain't doing nothing, then they just say doing nothing.
You gotta leave. It's either you leave or you stay and bear the brunt, or you take it over yourself. I know I have worked for several businesses who, when we've had the discussion, I said, well, you really need to do this. You need to put something in place, because obviously the staff you have doing their primary role and not equipped to do the sanitization of your office.
Of course.
So then you have these constant problems and persons are being sick, and then it affects the business productivity because your staff are out. So it's incumbent on you, the employer, to try and create that environment so you don't have staff getting sick so often by you as the employer doing the right thing, keeping the place clean. Yeah. Also, on the same slides, in terms of professional cleaning, it doesn't just speak to where you work professionally, you also have to look at where you live. How many of us have mattresses that we've had for the last 5, 10, 12 years?
That's true.
And we've never
changed them or had a power wash.
Never had them steamed or nothing like that, shampooed. Growing up, I know it was. When the mattress started to smell funny, the parents put it outside to take some sun. And that's what we thought was the right thing to do. But as I said, knowledge increased. Persons are aware now. You might have bed bugs, you might have to do steam cleaning to clean the bugs. You might have to do some shampooing because you have bodily fluids on the mattress. You're sweating there all the time. Some people eat on the bed, throw down food, throw down juice, and you just dry it up and then continue going along. So it's important for you to engage professional cleaning from time to time.
Agreed.
I also wanted to talk on, well, the hot topic. The hot topic in St. Kitts right now, one of the hot topics when it comes to offices, government offices especially, we have it with the schools, we have it with other professional offices that the government is in control of, is the issue of mold. Right? The issue of mold. Now, according to the Center of Disease Control, let me make sure I have this information correct because I want to make sure I have it right. I don't want anybody to say I was on the show with Dr. Lescott and Mr. Whitaker and this was what was said and it is law. So let me make sure I have the appropriate information.
Agreed.
Yes. Mold is a fungal growth that forms and spreads on various kinds of damp and decaying organic matter. There are many different species and they come in many different colors. And they are sometimes referred to as mildew. Some people mix up mildew and mold, right? They are found both indoors and outdoors in all climates, all seasons of the year. Indoor molds, they need moisture and a carbon source from building materials to grow. When you say carbon material, to break it down, they need something that's organic. They need wood, they need books, they need paper, they need cardboard, they need something to grow on. Right? Excess moisture in most cases is generally the cause of indoor mold, right? And molds reproduce by releasing these tiny spores. You can't see them, imperceptible. You can't see them, but they float through the air until they land on something that is suitable for their growth. And then once they get there, they start to spread. It takes, under ideal condition, it takes mold around 24 to 48 hours to grow. Just think about that. Under ideal condition, it takes 24 to 48 hours for mold to grow. Hence, as I said, the importance of regular cleaning. Because you cleaning a space now does not guarantee that next week it will not have mold.
Agreed.
It's very important that you do it continually because the mold is all over. The types of mold that you find in office buildings, they are not rare, they're not even unusual. It is important to understand that there is no space at all, no space that is completely free of mold. No space at all. So even in the hospital, you go in a surgical room, you're guaranteed if you do a test, you will find mold there because mold is everywhere. The issue with mold and what most persons are not cognizant of, or they, I guess, not fully grasping, is when mold becomes excessive. That's when it becomes a problem.
Yes.
And then excessive exposure, long exposure to
toxic.
that excessive amount of mold, that's when it gets toxic. Because when persons do mold testing, one of the things they use is they test the mold count on the outside of the building, and then they do the inside so that they could have the outside mold to say, well, that is the standard, what you can expect on the inside. So in some areas you have mold that's like 13,000 count. The standard in St. Kitts, the Bureau of Standards has already established that in St. Kitts, 500 mold spore count is the maximum, the threshold. The threshold is 500. But there are places on the outdoor that the count is 1,300. And it's always funny to hear a person say that, you know, you're in an office or you're in a space and you're saying like, you can't breathe in there because it's so much mold. You can't deal with the mold. And then you step outside and you say, oh, out here feels so much better. And the mold count out there is sometimes
the fresh air.
50 or 60 times what you have inside the building. So it's important to understand what the mold is. Yeah? So that is something that is important for us to understand. What mold is, where it is found, how it grows, how it germinates, how it moves, and then we as ourselves now can start to figure out how do we deal with it so we don't get the ill effects of mold.
I got you. So we're going to also take another quick commercial break for our sponsors. We're going to pay some bills and we'll be right back.
We never know when a storm may strike, but we can be prepared. At Skelec, we work tirelessly to keep our customers connected. When a storm is approaching, we activate our hurricane preparedness and response plan. After the storm, our response teams will assess the damage to our network. If you are daring enough to go outside after the storm has passed, don't touch any downed power lines and stay clear of sparking wires. We'll need you to remain patient as some restoration work may take longer than others. Before restoration work begins, we will fix any damage to our power plant and transmission lines. Then we'll restore power to priority areas, beginning with essential services like hospitals, police stations, and water pumps. After that, we'll restore power to the largest number of customers on one feeder, which will take the shortest amount of time. We will then restore power to smaller feeders and individual customers with isolated problems. Be sure not to worry. Skelec is right here with you when you need us most.
welcome back. And for those of you again, if you're new, our topic for this evening is air quality, climate change, and your health. Our guest for this evening is Mr. David Debson, Building Maintenance System Operations Manager, and Dr. Steve Whitaker. So I'm going to hand over the floor to you again, Mr. Debson.
Okay, so we spoke a little bit about mold, what it is, the different ways that mold can get in your place, how it grows, how it operates. So with the intention of protecting ourselves against mold. We're also going to look at how you clean mold. And if you go to slide 6, we'll talk a little bit about how we go about cleaning mold. One of the most effective and common...
Just hang on. Can we have slide 6? Thank you.
Yes, thanks. So one of the most common things that we can use readily available for mold is Clorox. Clorox is a great and cost-effective tool for cleaning. Now, as with any other cleaning solution, it is important to understand how to use Clorox. The instructions for all cleaning products is always on the label.
I didn't even know Clorox had instructions. I just thought you just pour in until you can't stand the smell anymore. Stop. Just play.
Yeah, and that is what some people do. Actually, that's what some people do. Because you would go in certain areas and
you
the
could
scent
smell
of
the
the
bleach
Clorox
for
is
sure.
so strong, it gets you sick.
It's true. It's
You
true.
mix it with something.
And yeah, you're not supposed to mix
Oh, I know.
it.
As about mixing, some people...
I mix.
Yeah.
I'm the Clorox chemist.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's terrible.
That's it. For example, vinegar is another natural solution that you can use to clean. It's very effective. But again, you have to know how to mix it.
True.
Because it can, if you mix it with too much water, it won't be effective.
Yeah.
And if you mix it too strong, it could be dangerous. It smell bad, it could be dangerous. And as we talk about mixing Clorox with vinegar. Because
that's
some
explosive.
People, oh yes, some people
So
feel
people
like,
do that?
yes.
Absolutely.
Some people feel like, Clorox is very good at cleaning.
I don't want to
Vinegar is very good at cleaning. So if you put them together, you create something. Yeah, but if you do that, you're creating a very harmful environment for you that if you stay in that space where you mix those two, it can kill you.
Oh, really?
Yes, it can kill you. And
For long
easily.
exposure.
Yeah.
It might have killed you immediately, but you could pass out.
Yes, you could pass out and stay in there until
and you could have prolonged after effects depending on the toxicity or concentration. So we have to be careful.
So a good way to measure Clorox, it says you could use 5 tablespoons or a third of a cup of bleach to 1 gallon of water, room temperature water. That is a standard mix for Clorox. According to what you're doing, in some environments you may have to go a little stronger. But as I say, you have to follow the label.
Gosh, I've been using Clorox incorrectly for the last 4
Many people.
Similar to Fabuloso, you have Fabuloso, Discipline, Pine Salt. People just start to mix all kind of things.
I do the same.
Yeah, you put in a little dish liquid in there, and you put in a little bit of this, and
Like
you put
the
in a little,
recipes.
yeah. Everybody cooking up something.
Everybody cooking up something.
And that sometimes can cause more harm. In most cases, it causes more harm than good. Use cleaning supplies as they have been, as the directions go. That's the most effective way to do them. Now I talk about how to clean mold. We know what mold is. I want to show some of the common areas that people have mold and they don't know where they have mold.
Interesting. That's
right?
a good
Some
one.
common areas. So if you skip to the next slide. Persons who viewing would know where this is. Because
that's on top of the cabinets,
yeah,
the cupboards.
That's on top of your kitchen cupboards. Yep. On top of your kitchen cupboards. When you clean, you wipe down everything that's within reach, within eye level.
That's true.
But the top of that cupboard there is just collecting dust.
That's true. And on top of, I guess, closets as well would be the
On
same.
on top of your closets. And some people are aware of it and they just refuse to deal with it. They don't want to go up there. They don't want to go up there at all because they know if you go up there, it's going to be messy.
Yes.
And just to avoid the mess. And that's when you maybe might engage a commercial cleaning company to do that.
That's true.
Yeah? So you don't have to do it. So it's
Your
not,
company does that?
We do that. We do residential cleaning also.
So there you go. You can call Mr. Debson.
So normally this is the Christmas time. You know, in the US you have spring cleaning. In the Caribbean,
we have Christmas cleaning.
We get our house clean for Christmas.
That's true.
Yeah, we want when the families come over, everybody drinking punch and thing. We want to make sure that they have they're in a clean space. You know, it's a competition for us most of the time.
It is a competition, almost excessively so.
Yeah,
almost excessively so.
Yeah. Let's skip to the next slide. Another common area, and this is in offices. Anybody know what that spot is? What that spot is?
That's like the walk-in entrance.
Right by the door. Mat is a mat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a carpet. A carpet that got what? Wet?
Wet.
And
it's
dry,
a water spot.
And it's a water spot.
Stain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a water stain. But what persons do? They clean up the water, make sure they sap it up, get it up, dry it up.
But then
underneath the carpet is where the problem is.
Absolutely.
You can have mold spores starting to form underneath there because they have everything they need. They have the moisture and they have the carbon.
They need some heat, right?
Not always.
Humidity.
Some you don't actually don't need a lot of heat, just enough to get things going.
Because it's a living organism too. It's a living organism. Mold is. So it's going to try and protect itself. Let's skip to the next slide. This is a ceiling. Yeah, most people have that there where you have the roof and you have water coming in on the roof causing leakage. This is a prime area for mold growth because in that space there you have all the items you need to create mold. You have water and you have organic material. You have water and you have an organic material.
But that looks like an attic.
It
We're going to
is.
come back. Kitchens have attics?
Some people do. And business places definitely have those.
We're going to stick a thumbnail on this. We're going to have a quick short presentation of our personality spotlight. And her name is Miss Victoria Hilton. She works at JNF. Very hard worker at the administrative level in the front desk, and I'm very proud and happy to have her as my personality spotlight this evening.
Health-wise, personality spotlight, Victoria Hilton. Victoria Hilton is a data entry clerk at the Accident and Emergency Department at the Joseph and France General Hospital. She has worked at the medical institution for the past 5 years. Victoria, who is an alumna of the Bastia High School, also attended the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, or CFBC. Additionally, Ms. Hilton has a passion for nail art and aspires to become a skilled nail technician, helping people look and feel their best. Looking to the future, Victoria aims to pursue a degree in psychology so she can make a meaningful contribution to the health sector.
It's time that we realize that we must work together to thrive. As we know it, the sky and below it. Could I never have more wonder? Yeah, with life and all you see and the climate's changing, but hope is remaining. That we can't ignore the future. It depends on you and me. One chance, all that we got. One voice, together we stand. Take care, the world where we live. Permite a todos vivir. Tomamos la oportunidad para guardar la humanidad. And I must leave no one behind because we are one climate, one Caribbean. One climate, one Caribbean.
And welcome back, everyone. Our topic for this evening is air quality, climate change, and your health. I'm your host, Dr. Lescott. I have my guest with me, David Debson, Building Maintenance System Operations Manager, and he is going to continue our discussion.
Yes, can we get back to slide number 9? So I was just identifying some places that are common areas that you have mold growth.
Yes, I was saying I didn't even know that our buildings now have attics. I thought that was something continental.
I don't think that's very new. In fact, I think a lot of older buildings will have the panel tiling. It actually has that pitch.
Yeah.
And it's not something you'd live in or crawl in, but it exists.
Yeah, and especially business places, you'll find more in a commercial place than a residential house, because most persons have their, if you don't have a concrete roof, you most likely will have an exposed raft, exposed roof. In businesses though, where in order to maximize the efficiencies of the AC units, you put a drop ceiling there that hides the roof. And in that crawl space between that drop ceiling and the actual roof, you could have them kind of damage.
I'm looking at this picture and I'm thinking, how are you going to clean this? It looks like it needs burning.
Well, yeah.
That's excessive. It does need cleaning, but
it needs cleaning, but before the cleaning happens, and that's another challenge we encounter in the commercial cleaning business, where persons would call us to clean the area, and we'll come and tell them, yes, we can clean, this is the cost to clean it, we're going to get it clean, but the circumstances or the situation that caused the initial problem of mold,
they don't
if
change
it's not
that.
addressed, you're going to have mold.
It's going to reoccur.
24 to 48 hours is what it takes mold to grow. 24 to 48 hours. So you're going to come and clean out that space for you, and then the galvanized that is leaking or not placed properly, or the hole that's in the roof is not repaired.
So it's going to reoccur in another 24 hours again?
Yeah, within another couple months you're going to call me back, and then you're going to call me and be upset like, yo, I paid you to clean and you didn't clean, because here we have the situation again. I clean, but if you did not address it's going to come back. So that's something that we'll call. And can you flip to the next slide? This next slide now is a very common area. Very, very common area. And when we are doing building inspections, persons who complain of moldy scents and what's not, when we enter the building, one of the first areas we go and look for is right underneath here, under the kitchen sink. Because you know the kitchen sink is a popular storage area, but you see all those exposed pipes there, so you're going to take a bottle or a box of something and just shove it underneath there, and when you push it underneath there, it jams the pipe. It hits the pipe, and then that water seal is broken, and when you open your sink, you have water falling onto the floor of the shelf. And once it gets there, you have the perfect combination. You have a dark space that's cool, humid, and you have the organic material.
Yes, for it to go on.
It's right going to be there. So oftentimes, and this is not just your kitchen sink, also in some persons who have those bathrooms with the cupboards underneath, you have it there. So you should take a moment and when you get a chance, open your bathroom cupboard, open your kitchen cupboard, and look to see what's going on underneath there. Because it's a dark place, and I mean, everybody grew up putting things underneath there. Who doesn't have a plastic bag full of plastic bags under the sink? Yeah, every time you buy a shopping bag, you push it in that bag and push it underneath there. So it's necessary that you clean under those areas there every once in a while. So yeah, those are some of the common areas you need to do. But it's always important that you engage professionals when you're dealing with mold. And if you feel that you're affected by mold, while it's important that you reach out to your employers to see what the environment is that you're working in, you need to also be cognizant of the fact that you spend a lot more time home than you spend in the office. You come in the office, you work from 8 to 4 or 8 to 5, whatever the case may be, and you go home, you say, oh, I lime a lot, Yeah, you lime, but at some point you get home, whether it is 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, when you get home, you go in your bedroom and you stay in your bedroom till 7 o'clock the next morning.
Or later.
Or later. Or for the persons the older persons like myself who don't stay out too late.
The older persons.
Like myself who don't stay out too late.
Let's not start the age up. Let's start the older.
And we try to get to bed by about 9 o'clock. So when we get to bed at 9 o'clock and we wake up at 6, that's 9 hours we spend in our bedroom. So some persons love their teddy bear collection. Those are prime areas. When you go to a doctor and say you have asthma, they say, yo, what your bedroom condition look like.
That's true.
What does your pillow look like?
What your pillow look like? Or the cupboard in your thing. So a lot of persons suffer from asthma and other respiratory problems, and they blame it on their work environment, not recognizing that you're asking the boss to test the office for mold, but you have never tested your own home to see if you have mold there. Yeah, so it's important to prioritize our health by doing what is necessary. The things that we can do to avoid getting sick, let's just get it done. And as I said, ABMS and other professional cleaning services are there, especially as I said, this is the Christmas season is coming up. This would be a good time for you to engage a professional cleaner and see if we can assist you with making your environment a little better.
Okay. Awesome. So do we take it to commercial break, or do you want to begin the topic? We should take a commercial break? Okay, so I'll have...
I guess I'm up.
I'll have Dr. Victor to pick up where Mr. Debson left off.
All right.
So take the floor.
All right, thank you. And it's, again, Whitaker, it's fine.
I keep forgetting.
No, it's okay. Many people do. That's okay. So I want to thank everyone again, not only for the setup, facilitation, and accommodation, but the conversation so far. To follow on and piggyback on some of the things that you've been talking about. Mold, I want to say to whichever camera that can see me, I am not an expert. Many of you have communicated with me casually, overly casual, about the issues that they face in your homes, at work, in places you have to visit you'd rather not be, whether it be a hospital, clinic, etc. Even in, maybe you go in for, you know, some bank transaction, and maybe just maybe a rug or something got wet at the point, and you can detect
You can smell it.
which is the first line, the first, if you want to call it, inspection that anyone can take, is the actual smell of it. But again, as mentioned before by my colleague, there are many different types, many different settings, many different orientations, many different types of toxicity. And right here I want to quote one of the older guys who I can't pronounce their name, but there's a saying in environmental health called, or as we rephrase it as, the dose makes the poison. So the amount is very important. As you said, you can't completely eliminate any kind of microorganism and or growth to some degree, even in a surgical suite. You can eliminate as much with disinfection or sanitization, but the honest to God truth is it's going to be a challenge, right?
That is true. I agree.
So that being said, mold spores, they exist. They get propelled, they propagate, they grow. And they're not, as I would say to anybody right now, a reason to be ashamed. I think when you see some of these photos, people can relate, but maybe they don't want to participate because it's some kind of condemnation on their ability to clean, right?
I agree.
No, it is not mold and many other antagonists. They're not the product of malice, right? What they actually are, they're incidental, they're accidental.
Yep.
They are they're the products of negligence. And so even if we don't want to climb up on a ladder or counters and clean on top of our cupboards, we have to play our part in engaging the professional services, but also take a chance to at least routine, as you mentioned it, the regular monitoring and cleaning of your spaces is one of the first things that anyone can do to reduce the risk.
A big one that I've noticed is because of the way the environment, the climate is so hot. What I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, what I learned, I didn't know before, is when you put an AC system in your home, you have to have a proper ventilation system that matches the size and what's not. I don't know the technicality of these things. Most persons would just install an AC and then they don't have good ventilation, and then apparently that increases your incidences for mold. So I didn't realize that. I thought the AC had a ventilation for some reason. People just feel like the ventilation is built into the system, but you actually have to have a separate ventilation system,
for ACs, I think the measurement is 20 CFM is what is needed for of fresh air for each individual that's in the space. Now, AC units are run with fresh air. You need to get fresh air in. So there are different types of units. There are those we call the split units, the standard ones. You have the condenser on the outside, the evaporator on the inside. Those units do not suck in fresh air.
What are they doing?
What they're doing is recirculating the air that's inside the building. That's why they have those filters on them. So when you have the guys them come, they flip the filter and they wash it out. It's filtered. They just filter in the same year that's being used.
We're going to stick a thumbnail on it. I had no idea. I thought all ACs had the fresh air coming.
No.
So we're going to come back. This is about the time where we're going to have a look at the Joseph and Franz General Hospital. Dr. Jensen Morton, he's going to deliver some pertinent health news to you guys.
I'm Dr. Jensen Morton, the Director of Health Institutions, and today we're here at JNF General Hospital in the Radiology Department. Now, it does not look like much because I'm here in a shelled construction site within the Radiology Department, which will soon house our brand new CT scan machine. It's going to be a government-owned machine, and just to give you some context, the machine which we previously operated with was a 64-slice machine, which gives you an idea as to the power and the depth of the coverage of the images. This new machine is going to be a state-of-the-art 128-slice CT scan machine that also has capabilities to allow us to perform interventional cardiological procedures. So this is one step of many steps in the process for us to get our health system modernized and to get it right back on track with some of the other territories, with being able to offer interventional cardiological studies and procedures for patients that absolutely need it. Right now, if someone in St. Kitts and Nevis suffers a massive heart attack, we're limited with some of the treatment options available because it's going to be down to mostly medical options. But this piece of machinery is one step in the process to us being able to offer a multitude of other things, including stenting and other interventional procedures to save more persons' lives and prevent more persons from having to fly out to get these life-saving procedures. So the machine, it's already on island. This room is going to be prepared for the machine, and we're hoping that within about 2 weeks' time, but before Christmas, of course, we are going to have this machine up and ready to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So we look forward to it, and hopefully in one of the broadcasts in the future, you'll be able to see this transformed space with the brand new state-of-the-art CT scan machine. Thank you.
We never know when a storm may strike, but we can be prepared. At Scalec, we work tirelessly to keep our customers connected. When a storm is approaching, we activate our hurricane preparedness and response plan. We monitor the storm and work closely with the authorities. We'll need you to ensure that there are no trees in the lines near you. If you need our help, call us for more information. It is likely that there will be a power outage, so make sure all your devices are fully charged. If you have a generator, make sure the changeover switch works. Ensure you have enough fuel and that your generator is isolated from the grid. It's best that you power off your main switch from the electrical panel and unplug all appliances. When calling to report faults, tell us everything. Don't leave any information out. After the storm, our response teams will assess the damage to our network. Be sure not to worry. Scalec is right here with you when you need us most.
Guess what? What? September 2024 marks the official start of Aspire.
And our government has a super cool gift just for us.
$1,000 in saving and investments.
$500 will be held in a savings account.
That we go as you go.
And $500 in shares kept safely until you are qualified to access it.
And it belongs to us. Not mommy, no daddy.
And not only that, you'll be learning all about how to manage your money wisely at school too.
Yes, all children ages 5 to 18 who are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis.
And
registered at a school, including homeschool, will qualify.
I can't wait for September 2024.
But I yearn the first group ever to benefit from this program.
Yay! To saving, investing, and
Watching our money grow.
And welcome back, everyone. Our topic for this evening is air quality, climate change, and your health. Quickly, I would just give you a quick health tip of the week. So the quick health tip would be, please don't smoke around infant babies and children, you know? Thank you. So we're going to continue our discussion with Mr. Whitaker. He says no doctor.
No doctor, thank you very much. All right, to just continue and just to make sure we're not just dropping off a cliff, temperature control devices such as AC, they are not all made the same and they don't operate the same. And depending on how you build, it's going to help affect or control your internal climate. But when we hear the term climate, there are like a lot of things that comes to people's mind. It is an unfamiliar or amorphous term that a lot of people associate things with. They say global warming, is it the same? I'm just going to keep it simple and say, in fact, we've encountered climate change, we're living through it, we're observing it. And from the time you hear things about drought, which we've all been impacted by, from the time you hear about intense storms, tropical storms, hurricanes, we've been impacted by them. The high heat, we've had some of the hottest days on records, for the past 5-10 years in our federation, in the region and across the globe in the last 5 to 6. Flooding, all of these things are the familiar aspects and those symptoms of climate change. Now, how does that affect indoor air quality? So it influences, as aforementioned, particulate matter or dust. If it's drier, it's dustier, it gets into everything, it gets on everything, it is dispersed by all vehicles, and no amount of filtration, as important as it can be for some commercial and residential spaces, can compete with the opportunistic dust that infiltrates us. All right, so we have to be mindful of that. The higher heat, either we're gonna close all our windows and use ACs and fans or not. But as soon as we open up, the outside world comes in. We track it in with the clothes we wear throughout the day. I know some people say, my outside clothes don't come into my bedroom, but not everybody, even operates that way. And so even just a little bit of that particulate matter, or even microorganisms, can track into your indoor spaces, and you can have the same mold, that we've talked about before. But again, I'm not an expert. I'm just a kid who had asthma, who had the opportunity to go to college and study climate change and air quality for almost a decade.
Sounds like an expert to me, but
I don't call it expert, but jump to the slide, and I guess I'll just round things out with something that I did not get to talk about during our national air quality dialogue, which again, great first step, but I think we still need to reach out to more people. So just the excerpt on slide 2, I'm just going to talk about some additional factors when it comes to air quality and health specifically. Maybe it's not the most accessible. I just want us to pay attention to the left side of not just the slide itself, but the actual illustration. And it shows you that there's some other factors that contribute to whether or not you're going to experience lung function deficit, right? Of course, sex, female versus male, women tend to have better lung function just by virtue of being female because they don't do certain types of jobs, right? They might be the janitors and custodians and cleaners, but they're not necessarily going to do the manual labor.
I just thought we were just genetically strong, but
maybe you are genetically strong, but I'm not a geneticist. I'm an environmental researcher. Physical activity at work, again, maybe has a protective effect, but it does come back to what my colleague was talking about, how well you do your job, the proper use and responsible use of chemicals and PPE. Personal protection equipment cannot be overstated, the importance of it. So many people, even cleaning your house, do not wear gloves or masks. They just, again, cook up that recipe in the mopping up bucket and they go to town, and that's not necessarily a smart thing to do for your lung function. Chikungunya, yes or no, that actually predisposes people to decompensation, meaning that your lung function, your tissue is going to harden and it's actually not going to respond as well. And so a lot of people who said, Whitaker, I used to be active, I used to go gym, I got chikungunya, and since then, I've not been, and I'm not able to publish this yet, but, regardless of it, I'm telling people now, we like to believe once we get an illness, we overcome it, we recover, and we're at our best. Oftentimes, we can never return to best.
100%.
So be mindful of that. Asthma, again, also predisposes us. Anything that is on the pink side or the red side of this slide, it means you're most likely to have a lung function deficit. And asthma, which I honestly have been suffering since I was a child and almost died. Of course, if you have that diagnosis, you're going to probably be more susceptible to indoor air quality antagonists, whether it be dust or mold. Tobacco use, I don't smoke, but a lot of people do. Don't judge, but at the same time, you can tell people about that habit being one of the most disgusting things. Some people are going to still do. I know some of you are going to reach out to me right now, probably on WhatsApp and talk about marijuana. When you're talking about that right now, tobacco use is what I'm talking about.
We should stick a thumbnail there because that's why I had that as my health tip, because what I found is even with the use of marijuana, children, what we need to understand, when you smoke and you inhale and you exhale, all of what you're exhaling also brings up germs and different stuff from deep within your respiratory system that you're an infant baby or a young child would be susceptible to be getting sick. And if you're going to blow out the smoke, it's going to be captured on your clothing, it's going to be on the surrounding fabrics and the curtains. So that's why I chose that particular health tip, because it's something that I find it's a silent issue going on with our youths right now with little children. We have a lot of smokers. The smoking population has increased in St. Kitts. And so we need to make parents aware that even if you have your infant on your hand with what you call those, like some sort of protection, they put like a blanket, that's not enough. You need to change your clothes and possibly even take a shower before you hold your infant baby after smoking.
True.
Right? So we can continue.
No, that's a fair point. And I think parents and guardians mean well and do their best, but again, you go out into the outside world, a lot of times you are subject to things you didn't even know you were exposed to.
Because sometimes the child might even be asthmatic but has not been diagnosed yet. That could be a trigger, and then you'll be very scared.
Or various other types of respiratory illnesses. So yes, we have to be mindful, but we don't live in a vacuum. So I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm just saying we have to be proactive sometimes, preventative, or at least responsive. Again, the negligence is the easiest way to make sure indoor air quality becomes an issue. In the end, coming down to climate change, if we could go back to this slide real quick, the last two things I want to mention are actually going to, speaking to or relates directly to the conversation, national dialogue. The particulate matter, the dust, air pollution risk, as you can see, low versus high. Persons in higher places tend to, unfortunately, have a higher risk of lung function deficit. And the last thing I want to talk about, and you could take off the slide, recent fire in community. Now, climate change is probably going to make things drier. We're going to have more cane fires as much as we've moved away from sugarcane, grass fires, etc. But I think a lot of this, unfortunately, has to do with the fact that we have a lot of people, when it comes to disposing of their garbage, the first thing they want to do is burn it. I am sorry to say that is a very bad practice that I think needs to be clamped down on. I don't necessarily think we need to imprison anybody for it or fine anybody, but climate change is already going to make the place hot. It's already going to be drier if we continue to add fuel to the fire, literally, both outdoor and indoor quality. And again, we could have this conversation 10 times over in the space or time we had today. But I want to thank you for the time and the opportunity presented to me today. Again, I'm not a mold expert. I'm just a researcher. If you have questions, I'm always willing to engage in a conversation. And thank you again for my colleagues and facilitator for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you for coming, and thank you, Mr. Debson. Thank you, guys. I'm really happy to have had this discussion. It was timely, needed, and necessary. So thank you, guys, who tuned in TV and internet land. Over and out. Thank you very much.